How's it going, y'all? I just got this cappuccino from Steam Espresso Bar, which, by the way, if you're into espresso, if you're into cappuccino, holy buckets. But right now we're at South Pearl Street here in one of my favorite neighborhoods in Denver. This is Platt Park. Shall we? Let's go. How's it going, y'all? My name is Jesse Lynch, and I run the hardest working real estate team in the game. We're called Welcome to Denver. You can check out our website, welcometodenver.co. But this YouTube channel is all about helping you find a place to call home here in the beautiful Denver metropolitan area, the Front Range of Colorado, Boulder, Denver, Fort Collins, and relocations. That's what we do, and that's what we do better than anybody else. So if that appeals to you, then do me a favor, do yourself a favor. Subscribe to this channel, click the little bell to get notified so you can see every time we're putting videos like this out. And if you wouldn't mind, give this video a thumbs up or say something in the comments, helpful, funny, abstract, just emojis, just literally just mash the keyboard, it's all good. I would appreciate that very, very much. And of course, if you want to work with us, we would love to help. You can go to our website, welcometodenver.co. We have a contact form there that you can fill out in like 30 seconds or less. I might go into the store after I shoot this. Or you can shoot us an email directly to info@welcometodenver.co. They lead to the same spot, so totally up to you how you do it. We just ask that you do, and we'll get the show on the road, get you here, get you in the right house, in the right neighborhood, all that. Speaking of right neighborhoods, today we're talking Platt Park. Everything this way from Broadway. Well, not everything, but this is the western border. Right over here is Platt Park, and Platt Park is honestly such a cool spot. I think it ticks the luxury box, but it also is not that expensive on the median. You can find beautiful luxury homes in the neighborhood. It's got some very cafe feelings, but yeah, not the most expensive. I think one of the best values of luxury, accessible neighborhoods. Now, it isn't a Cherry Creek. It's nothing like that. We'll get into it. Let's just keep going. All right, y'all, right now I'm in the namesake of this neighborhood, Platt Park, a beautiful park. It's not as big as a city park or a Cheeseman Park or a Washington Park, but it is great, and it has a similar vibe. Back here, the public library, cool historic house right here, little playground, and then just kind of a big open field set up here. It's really nice. I was just here over the weekend, and it was packed. And like I said earlier, I think Platt Park is probably going to be the most modest of any of the neighborhoods where I would say you can, reliably access luxury homes. There are like a lot of really, really beautiful luxury homes in this neighborhood, and then there's a decent amount of more modest homes as well. It's a little bit in the path of progress, but that almost is like too derogatory because it's very, very, very nice and quite buttoned up for the most part. Platt Park is about 15 minutes to the south of downtown Denver and probably 35-40 minutes to the airport. Population is 6,500 people or so, and it's just to the south of the Washington Park neighborhood, which we have virtual tours on. Such a cool neighborhood and such a beautiful park as well. And really the northern border, kind of northeastern border, is I-25. So it's right along I-25, very good access. The eastern border is South Downing Street and the University neighborhood. The southern border is Evans Avenue and the Rosedale neighborhood, and the western border is basically South Broadway, where I was earlier, and the Overland neighborhood. I think one of the elements that makes me feel pretty comfortable saying that Platt Park would qualify as a luxury neighborhood, other than the homes, is the schools. The public schools are quite good that serve the Platt Park neighborhood. By default, you have Denver public schools, but the schools that serve Platt Park specifically are quite a bit better than that on average. Specifically, South High School. South High School is a very good school. It gets an A on niche.com, and it's quite well regarded. Then you have Grant Beacon Middle School, that gets a B, and elementary schools are McKinley Thatcher, which gets an A-, and Asbury Elementary, which gets a B+. Of course, like everywhere else in Denver, there are other charter schools and magnet schools that you can, consider or opt in for. Specifically, one we talk about a lot is the DSST Cedar High School and Middle School. That gets an A, and basically DSST is Denver School of Science and Technology. It's like a charter STEM school that is pretty highly regarded. And then of course, there's private schools available as well. Some phenomenal private schools within a decent drive, if that's kind of the route you're gonna opt for. Definitely, we have helped a decent amount of people who are considering private schools only anyway, so it's always nice to include that, yeah, you have quite a few good private school options in this area. As far as the housing stock goes, that's where the number is probably the cheapest median sale price of any neighborhood that I would qualify as luxury, and that median sale price is $825,000, which is considerably lower than anything else that made the luxury neighborhood video. But the reality is, it's not all luxury here. There's a good range of listing. Right now, the cheapest house on the market is $675,000, and the most expensive is $3.15. But if you have a budget, of $1 million, $1.5 million, $2 or $3, the houses here are beautiful in that price range, and definitely, I would say, qualify as luxury. And I would also say that your money goes pretty far in the Platt Park neighborhood compared to some of the more notable, some of the more hyped luxury neighborhoods that I'm guilty of talking about them, including them in the hype. But Platt Park is nice, kind of slides under the radar. It's a little bit in the path of progress, but specifically, I want to note, the path of progress doesn't mean that it's going from, really rough to super, updated, like crazy gentrification. It's going from very nice to, oh, now you're seeing proper luxury homes. And there's a good history of historic luxury homes. Actually, right where I started, kind of in the corner of the park over here, there's a beautiful 4-bed, 3-bath, like 3,400 square foot brick historic house for $1.9 million. It's so sweet. But yeah, you can get the cool historic house that I would say qualifies as luxury here in Platt Park. But let's keep it moving. Let's talk through pros and cons here in just a second. Y'all, right now I'm at Grant Street and Jewel Avenue, and I think this is a really good example of what you're going to see a lot of in Platt Park. For one, beautiful homes like this. 2, beautiful older homes like that. 3, partly finished new build homes. 4, empty lots, still working on it. They'll get there. They'll be done and they'll be beautiful very, very soon. But I want to talk through the pros and cons of living in Platt Park as I see them, and I think there's a decent blend of both pros and cons. I do think, I want to start with this. Number one pro, I think for the money, I think Platt Park is one of the better bang for your buck if you're looking for like a cafe neighborhood with, potential for a high-end home, a new build home, or, you know, a very nice, more modest, older home, I do think Platt Park is among the best bang for your buck. And then, but there's going to be a few cons that are associated with that. So pro number 2, access to good schools. The public schools by default are pretty dang good, you know, maybe not like top 100 in the country, but pretty good. And then plenty of charter, magnet, and private school options, of course. Pro number 3 is, although it's not the biggest park in Denver, honestly, Platt Park, great park, really nice park, and you have very good access to the likes of a Washington Park as well, not that far away, a short drive, decent walk, or nice little bike ride easily. Pro number 4 is that I love like the cafe neighborhood vibe. So I call neighborhoods where you could walk out your front door, walk a few blocks to a cafe. That's what I call a cafe neighborhood. I made that term up, I think, but I like it. And the little shops along Pearl are so nice, so cute, so quaint, and feel very neighborhoody. Whereas Broadway, we'll talk about that in a second. Although it is convenient to have that stuff, but we'll talk about that in a second. Another pro, really good highway access. You're literally right by I-25, piece of cake, get on there in no time, start heading wherever you're heading. And then lastly, I'm gonna say is that it's in the path of progress. Again, like I said, it's not like it's been really rough recently. It's not the case at all. But I believe it's only going to keep getting better. Then what are some of the cons? I think number 1 is price. And I only say that because I basically made a rule when I started this channel that if a neighborhood has a median price that's higher than the Denver metropolitan neighborhood, that's just the bar I'm going to use on is price good or is price bad. But like I said, the value is actually pretty dang good for this neighborhood. It's just, yeah, it's more expensive than the median. So con number 2 is that Broadway, which is the western border, it's not the worst street in Denver or in the world, but it's definitely not the best. It just, I don't know, leaves a little something to be desired sometimes. It's very busy and not necessarily the coolest commercial or the most aesthetically pleasing commercial, you know, area. Whereas on Pearl Street, super cute, super beautiful, and you know, it's like a nice place to hang out, sit on a patio, sit on a front stoop or something like that. And yeah, it's particularly more aesthetically pleasing. Third con I'm gonna say is that there's the occasional home here, and maybe they'll be gone soon. Maybe they'll all be scraped. Maybe they'll all become these. But you still have enough. That's maybe the path of progress. You still have enough of these houses that are frankly just kind of ugly. Just only a few, and it's, I mean, truly occasional. But yeah, just somewhere you're like, what is that house? Why does that house, you know, in this neighborhood? It doesn't make any sense. It's ugly. It's not well kept. And yeah, I do believe path of progress, the long-term investment, most of that will be gone probably, or it'll just be this weird, you know, odd man out house, and it won't impact values all that much. And then final con is just cons associated with the city. You know, I always talk about this, narrower streets, street parking, right, where people are parked on the street. A lot of these dumpsters because the houses are being renovated. And then, you know, smaller lots where you don't have a huge yard, easier to take care of though. And then detached garages and things like that. So, all right, I'm gonna keep going. We're gonna talk through some other neighborhoods that you might wanna consider if you like what you see here in Platt Park. right, y'all, right here is Corona and Colorado Avenue, and this is just another beautiful street. You got newer build stuff here, and I think mostly more old, not necessarily super historic, but nice, quaint, cozy, character-filled houses as we head this way. But I want to talk through some other spots that you might want to consider if you're liking what you're seeing in Platt Park, which there's not a lot to not like. So before I dive in, I would like to say, if you want to work with us, we would love to help. This is what we do. This is what we do better than anybody else. This is what we spend all our time doing, right, is relocation. So if you're moving here, want to buy a house when you get here, reach out to us at info@welcometodenver.co, or you can head to our website. We have a contact form that you can fill out in like 30 seconds or less, assuming you know your name, phone number, email, that kind of stuff. Easy peasy, and then we'll reach back out. We'll get things going, get things headed in the right direction for you, and we would be genuinely honored to help you make it all happen. But I want to talk through some of the spots that you might want to consider if you like the idea of Platt Park, if you like the aesthetics and, you know, what it has to offer. And some of these neighborhoods aren't going to be perfect examples, but I think it's pretty good comparisons. Number one is Country Club. I love Country Club. I think it's a really beautiful neighborhood, and I think the value is decent. It's more expensive than here for sure, and definitely a little bit more like widely upscale, but super nice and has some similarities as far as I'm concerned. The next two are really close to it, and I think they're maybe a little bit less high-end feeling, but still very nice and very livable. We have virtual tours on both of them, Baker and Spear. They're basically directly north along Broadway, on either side of Broadway, and I do think that they have a lot in common, maybe a little denser, a little bit more commotion, and not quite as many as like that happening, right? But still very nice area indeed. And then next is Sunnyside. Sunnyside is northwest of downtown Denver, and it's just to the north of Highlands, and it's really great, really cozy, kind of slept on in a way that I think Platt Park is as well. Probably a little closer to downtown, maybe a little closer to an urban style living, but yeah, kind of similar. I think people who would be interested in Platt Park would also be interested there. Lastly, I'm gonna say Berkeley, Denver, not Berkeley, Colorado. That's some crunchy leaves. Oh, I pissed a dog off, sorry. But Berkeley in Denver, that's basically to the west of Sunnyside. Beautiful neighborhood, really nice, really largely residential with a little bit of commercial spaces, especially along Tennyson and Pearl kind of remind me of each other, just in that they have a lot to offer, and they're kind of smack dab in the middle of the neighborhood. But that's all I got for this. I hope you've enjoyed. As always, I'm just gonna get out of here. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video. Bye-bye.